like the frost on a rose. Winter comes for us all. Oh, how nature acquaints us with the nature of patience. And like a seed in the snow, I've been buried to grow. For your promise is loyal, from sea to sequoia. I know, though the winter's long, even richer the harvest it brings. And though my waiting prolongs, even greater your promise for me like a seed. I believe that my season will come. Oh, Lord, I think of your love like the low winter sun. And as I gaze, I am blinded in the light of your brightness. It's like a fire to the snow. I'm renewed in you. Melt the ice of this wild soul till the barren is beautiful. And I know, though the winter's long, even richer the harvest it brings. And though my waiting prolongs, even greater your promise for me like a seed. I believe that my season will come. I can see the promise, I can see the future. You're the God of seasons, and I'm just in the winter. If all I know of harvest is that it's worth my patience, then if you're not done working, God, I'm not done waiting. You can see my promise, even in the winter, 'cause you're the God of greatness, even in a manger. Should all I know of seasons is that you take your time, you could have saved us in a second. Instead you sent a child. Promise for me like a seed. I believe that my season will come. And when I finally see my tree, still I believe there's a season to come. Like a seed you sow for the sake of us all, from Bethlehem soil grew Calvary sequoia. Oh.
Hello there, I'm Gabriel Kelly, one of the team here at Hillsong Church, and thank you for joining us for New Song Cafe on worshiptogether.com. We're really excited today to be talking to Ben Hastings, one of the writers on the song Seasons from the new Hillsong Christmas album, The Peace Project. It's great to also have Nigel and Autumn here with us today. Guys, nice to see you.
And you too.
Nice to see you.
Thank you for coming along.
No,
you all look
thanks for having
fantastic. Benny, I love this song that you and the guys have written. I feel like even the arrangement that you've kind of brought for us today is really lovely, and I think it's a really special song. Can you tell us a little bit about how it came about?
Yeah, absolutely. This song kind of came together really organically, actually. And I think it's because a lot of the concepts have just sort of been bubbling around in my mind for a long time, and they were coming out in conversations with Chris, one of the other writers in the song, and Ben as well. So we sat down to write it, and it all just started falling together, kind of really organically. Even that chorus lyric kind of all came out just as we were playing it. I think if you think about God, God is God, right? So he can do whatever he wants at any moment and any time. He could fulfill all his promises just like that. But so often he takes his time. There's a lyric in the bridge of the song. It says, "You could have saved us in a second. Instead, you sent a child." I think Jesus is the perfect example of that. How God is so okay with playing the long game, like sending a baby in order to fulfill a plan that would initiate 30-something years later and then roll out even to today. And yeah, there's so much in that.
I think so as well.
Yeah.
You already highlighted lyrically. I feel like it's really, really well thought out, really well developed themes, which I think you guys have done a great job on. One of my favorite lines is the one that mentions from seed to sequoia. Yeah. Can you tell us a little bit about that quickly?
Yeah. That's actually so crazy how that came about. So sequoias, I don't even know where I learned the word. I think we did a family trip to Yosemite a few years back, and they have these beautiful big giant sequoias, like the biggest trees I think the biggest trees in the world, and they live up to 3,000 years old, which is crazy. Like some of those trees were kicking about when Jesus was here. But anyway, we were writing out the back of conference in this writing room, and this line kind of landed, and we were so pumped at the time. I was like, "This is the best thing that's ever happened." And one of our creative directors, Josh Bonet, walked in the room. He was like, "Oh, I'm sorry, guys." And we were like, "No, come in. You got to hear this." And so we threw this line at him, and we kind of told him the song that we were writing, and he was like, "Oh, let me show you something." So he pulled out this big manuscript, and he'd been working on a TV episode for the channel for Robert. Robert's our teaching pastor, obviously, here at church, and the whole episode was on this idea of winter and process and God in the waiting, and we were like, "Oh, it's so cool." And so to kind of add to that, Chris was talking to Robert later on that day. And he said, we have this song. It's really cool. We're kind of on the same spiritual page. Like I never thought that would ever happen with Robert. And he said, and he starts telling him about this sequoia line. And Robert's like, "Oh, that's amazing," because my whole episode is actually about sequoia trees and how the seed, like apparently with sequoia trees, the seed needs the harshness of winter to flourish into everything it becomes. And so in that moment, I was like, okay, this has to stick, and this really feels like something God wants to share with people. So yeah, it's really, really cool.
That's actually a really cool story.
Yeah.
I think a lot of times with Christmas albums and projects, they can kind of feel like they're performances or whatever else, but it feels like this song would really fit naturally in a worship service.
Yeah.
What kind of role do you see it fulfilling, like on a Sunday in a church, for example?
Yeah, that's a really good thing to think about, because I think it's not necessarily your conventional song. The chord structure moves a little differently than normal. It's quite, like lyrically, it's got concepts like sequoia trees, things you're not necessarily used to hearing. But I think if you utilized it well as like a song 3, I think a few, like a good song at the top to kind of get everyone engaged, either a praise song or something like This Is Amazing Grace, something like Up that'll get you in. And then, again, like a strong song 2. And then I would place it as a song 3, almost like a bit of a moment, and let it be a moment for a little bit. And then hopefully the bridge kind of picks it back up, grabs everyone's attention. And then I think finishing with a strong song.
Benny, it's really interesting to me you mentioned the chord structure of that song. It's like there's a lot of material to kind of cover there. Nige, I'm interested to hear from you about your approach as a guitarist and a music director, about how you would kind of take the song, which on the album is this huge orchestral arrangement, and then, as we've heard here today, like bring it right back down to just a few instruments. Do you have any thoughts on how we could approach that?
Yeah, cool. Well, in this setting, as you see, there's about 6 instruments or so, and on the album, it's fully produced with many different layers, and here it's quite stripped back. So I guess it's about building dynamics and journeying the song well. So with the acoustic guitar, well, firstly, the song's originally in the key of C, and today we do it in A. With the guitars, both Benny and I are playing with the capo on the 2nd fret, with the G shape. And it starts off really chilled with Benny just picking it, and he actually carries that picking idea throughout the whole song. And then we add the layers with Orts in the chorus and bringing in some Glock and percussion and various other layers. And I'll come in later on just with some strumming and do you want to talk through
the chords?
Yeah,
sure. So we so as Nigel said, we're in this G shape on the capital 2, and goes 4, which is the C, to the G, and 6, the E minor, to the 5, which is the D. And we pass on the 3 this time. It's 3, which is the to the 4, which is C, 6, 5. And then going into the chorus on that 3, I see, though the E minor is C, even 1 to the G, E minor to the D. And that's kind of the chorus progression. And then in that bridge, we hammer on the 1 hey at the start.
yeah.
So on that G, and then when it goes to the progression, it walks down on the D to the E minor, D, C, back up on the D that time, and when you're coming back to it, it walks down from the 1.
Yeah,
So,
cool. So he's playing that picking style throughout the song. I only come in on the turnaround after the first chorus, and I'm actually strumming just with just using all my hands, just strum with that. And I only pick up the pick on the bridge.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then just that idea. Chords very simple. G shape, E minor, C, old school C with the 5th down the bottom, the D, and that's pretty much that idea throughout.
Awesome. Orts, would you mind talking to us quickly about how the chords and the movement and the musicality can support the song as a whole?
Yeah, one of the beautiful things about this song that Benny, you've done such a great job, is lyrically it's a bit of a masterpiece. And so I think our approach today, at least, was to just let the chords and the voicings support the lyrics. There's a beautiful melody happening in amazing lyrics. So we didn't overplay because I think it doesn't need it. So I think in your own churches, sometimes there can be this temptation to just overplay because we want the Spirit of Jesus to come. But I think if we understand that sometimes being more minimalist in our approach actually lets you hear the beautiful melody and lyrics that the guys have done. So that's what we did today. Hopefully it's a help.
It's awesome.
It's very cool. And you're right, Orts, the whole point is that people will take these songs and kind of play them in their churches, and really believing that this song that you guys have written becomes a declaration for a lot of people over this Christmas period, and God would use it in a powerful way, which is cool. Thank you guys for coming in today. It's been great having you.
Thank you.
Thanks
Thanks for having
Thanks
us.
so much.